report focuses on safer cycling in the Merri-Bek Council region. We initially conducted a research phase before going further down the track into our design phase and looking at some potential solutions. Initially, we looked at Tim Ree's 2019 Greens MP report, which stated that Sydney Road was very unsafe, with over 4 out of 5 cyclists feeling very unsafe, particularly on Sydney Road, which was the main arterial road leading within Brunswick and the Merri-Bek Council region.
The Merri-Bek Council area has a range of off-road bike paths and marked on-road lanes. However, one major issue remains: there are currently no physical protected bike lanes across the region. BikeSpot is a platform that allows the public to map where they feel safe or unsafe while cycling. By exporting this data into QGIS and focusing on the Merri-Bek region, we were able to pinpoint key distributions and identify precise problems.
The dataset includes descriptions of hazards like aggressive driver behavior, blocked bike lanes, poor road design, and that forces cyclists into unsafe interactions with vehicles. From this analysis, we identified 5 main unsafe reasons that consistently appeared. First is dangerous intersections, narrow pathways, absence of bike lanes, sudden end of bicycle lanes, and poor surface conditions.
To properly visualize this, we put it into QGIS and created these little markers as raster SVG markers, and then we were able to put it within just the Merri-Bek Council region and further analyse them and filter them down.
A total of 96 reports of dangerous intersections were submitted across the Merri-Bek region. The majority of these were concentrated in 3 key areas: Upfield Trail North, Sydney Road and Nicholson Street. And then a total of 56 reports were submitted concerning paths that are too narrow, and the majority of these reports were also in the similar key locations, Sydney Road and Upfield Trail.
The map highlights locations where users reported a lack of bicycle lanes, with 55 responses in total. Most of the issues are concentrated along Sydney Road, Legon Street and Dawson Street. This slide focuses on locations where bike lanes suddenly end, which received 39 responses. These transitions forces cyclists to merge with car traffic, creating dangerous situations. Key problem areas include Legon Street, Nicholson Street, and Moreland Road.
So this slide is showing the Merri-Bek Upfield Street, the poor surface quality. This image also illustrates the downgrade surface condition that creates uncomfortable and potential dangerous riding experience. So our project, we choose 3 locations is important intersection in the road. So the first one is Victoria Street, Berwick. There's the issue 1 over there, and the middle image shows the Legon Street and the Berwick intersections. So there's issue 2, 3, 4, and the last image shows the Sydney Road and the Victoria Street intersection, and there's issue 2 and 3.
The first location is on Victoria Street, and the main existing issues that are found there at the dangerous intersection is the lack of the dedicated bike crossing, and then there's also the issue of the car not being set back from the crossing, so therefore it could lead to potential injuries for the cyclists, and then also the visibility due to the very dense tree line that is currently covering the bike lane, so pedestrians and vehicles won't be able to see them coming.
So for the Legon Street existing issue, this diagram shows the major concern such as unclear lane markings, lack of continuous bike lanes, and conflict points where cyclists and vehicles merge. These safety gaps increase the chances of collision and reduce the comfort of cyclists.
This is an intersection of Sydney Road and Victoria Street. We can see that Sydney Road has a narrow bike lanes, and the second issue is that it shared bike lane with parking vehicles. Coming through with Victoria Street, the bike lanes are between the parking and also the pedestrian walkway, which creates unsafe to cyclists.
Our first precedent is Foster and Partners Sky Cycle proposal, which is an elevated cycling network above London's railway corridor spanning 220 kilometres. Our second precedent that we looked at comes from Melbourne, where LED lights are embedded in footpaths to improve pedestrian safety. A key example of this is in Swanston Street and Little Collins Street, where the lights sync with the pedestrian signals. And our third precedent is the Kent Street Cycleway in Sydney, which showcases adaptive urban design. It integrates with existing infrastructure, featuring time-based parking restrictions to allow flexible curb use and maintain a safe and dedicated space for cyclists.
Here's the three design iterations that we created in Sydney Road. First is extend narrow bike lane to allow less traffic space. Second is curve connect the existing bike lanes around the corner intersection, and the third is having a curb between the bike lane and also the vehicle lane to separate it.
So about the design iteration for the Lygon Street, to respond those previous issue, there's three approach. The first one is green buff zone that protect cyclists from moving traffic. The second one is using the physical separation from the traffic. And the third one is showing the rough sketching of elevated cycling lane adjustment to the pedestrian pathway.
The first iteration for the upfield trail is an elevated bike path, but this, due to the very short length of the road, this might not be economically viable. The second one is creating a ramp which crosses across the existing pathway that's there, and this will prevent speeding through from vehicles coming in both directions. And then the most economical way is potentially just putting some simple signage up. These could just be stop signs or some sort of visual indicators for the pedestrian, cyclists, and vehicles.
This is the existing site plan of Sydney Road and the proposed site plan. As we can see that we created the curbs to separate the bike lanes and the vehicle lanes in the proposed plan, and we also continued the bike lane from Sydney Road to Victoria Road. This is the XO of the Sydney Road and also the Victoria Road. As we can see, we took off the bike lane and we positioned it with between the pedestrian walkway and parked vehicles. Then we also created two bike lane for a wider cycling path for the cyclist.
So this shows the design solution for the Lygon Street. And these two photos showing the comparisons of transformation of the intersection. On the left-hand side is showing the existing layout, and the right-hand side is showing the proposed solution, introducing the continuous green cycling lanes, and also protecting turning zones and elevated cycling lanes. So this one is showing the up close of the elevated cycling lanes. So the ramp is designed with a 1 to 14 slope to reach a height of 3 meters with clean pedestrian and a tram zone below. Yep.
So this illustrates the design solution for the upfield trail. So setting back the car setback 5 meters, which allows for proper stopping time for them, and then also reducing taking away the existing tree line that is there on that left corner, and replacing it with smaller shrubs, which will allow for a better visual view for the pedestrians and the vehicles and the cyclists, and then also integrating an LED strip lighting traffic system so that there's a clear indicator of when they're allowed to go and when they shouldn't be going. The axonometric drawing here shows the visualization of how the cars will be set back 5 meters and then how that LED strip lighting will work, and you can see that there's visual indicators on the ground before you go over the crossing so that you can actually tell if you're allowed to go or not. So it'll either be flashing red if you can't go, or it'll be green as you can see here. And then you can also see the reduction in the bush space there, so it's a little bit lower to the ground, so better visualization for the pedestrians and cyclists and vehicles.
Our research identified 5 major cycling safety issues in Brunswick. We addressed 4 out of the 5, covering around 80% of reported problems. Our 3 key solutions are protected bike lanes, continuous marked pathways, and elevated cycle routes. While surface quality wasn't tackled in this phase, it can be addressed in the future.